Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Legend of Zelda, Princess of the Opera. In this part, we explore the inside of Hyrule Castle, which is cool, I guess.
Much more interesting than the outside, although. God damn, is that empty.
So as I was saying last part, before Lewis was an asshole, the Hyrule Castle theme is one of the best themes in the series, I feel.
Yeah.
One of the best themes that the Zelda has ever composed.
Yeah, along with puzzle games.
Well, you know, she's a princess, but you don't really see her doing much governing, so she's got to have a hobby to fill the time.
Yeah, so she learned to play the harp.
Yeah, well, previously, most of the time she is just a legitimate princess, so she's not really in charge of anything. It's interesting that in this game that she was set to be coronated as queen.
Wait, they established that?
Yeah, they established that.
Yeah, there's that.
In the game, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the
Okay,
game.
I must have missed that line of dialogue.
Yeah, but before that happened, basically Sand came.
It's like, fuck!
Bad timing, like, whoa, son.
I could have been Queen Zelda.
So I guess that makes sense as opposed to Princess Peach, who is functionally queen but likes the title of princess because it makes her sound cuter, I guess.
It also makes it so she doesn't have to actually do anything.
She can choose to bail if she wants.
Yeah, but then how does governing happen? Oh, I guess the answer to that is obvious, is that governing doesn't happen in the
She's officially princess because if she gets kidnapped, that means there's, like, officially a way for the government to keep running while she's absent. And
yeah, that's just Toadsworth.
Yeah, and since she gets kidnapped every Tuesday, that's an important part of the Mushroom Kingdom Constitution.
Which is fucked up.
So technically, the Mushroom Kingdom is a democracy because Toadsworth is elected. It's just that Peach is the monarch, and so it's like a Britain thing. Yeah, it's a Britain thing. Oh, I forget what cartoon it was. It was a Cartoon Network cartoon where. I remember now. It's the one with the guy the genius guy who put his head into the bear. And I forget.
Evil Con Carne?
Evil Con Carne, that's it, thank you. Where he goes and he gets Excalibur out of the stone in order to become king. And then at the end of the episode, it's just like, oh, the kingdom doesn't do anything anymore. And then he just sits down and has tea with the queen. And it's great. That one got canceled. Well, not really canceled,
what is the actual functional purpose of British royalty in the year 2019, by the way?
Bringing up hype whenever one of them gets married / has a kid.
Or bans someone's fiance from using jewelry, apparently.
Having them announce that it's time for Eurovision.
Basically, yeah.
Basically, they're to announce public holidays so people can be happy.
Also, I suppose that they're also there so that you can get more pictures of the queen looking snarky / evil, you know.
Like, do they have veto power or anything? Something like that?
I honestly think that their governing power is basically nil at this point. They're like celebrities at this point. It's basically just, ow, my face.
So...
But they'll disintegrate the moment someone asks, who are you again?
Okay.
I mean, they get their own guards and stuff. That's pretty cool.
So why are they kept around then?
I imagine it could also potentially just be like an absolute failsafe. You know, God forbid something happens, and Parliament or whatever just can't do its job. Whether it's some kind of disease outbreak or what have you, there's someone there who's technically can just claim to be in charge and get things done.
Someone must govern the people.
Fair enough, I suppose.
But I mean, aside from that, I think they probably really just are a waste of taxpayer money. So
That's what I was gonna say. Like that, they seem expensive to keep around. But I'm just like the stuck-up American here. So
yeah, we wouldn't know anything about wasting money. We just like to dump expensive tea in the harbor, and we're justified because
one of the oldest American customs is putting a wad of $100 bills inside a bucket and just dumping it in a river. I don't get it, but it keeps the police away.
Okay.
Oh, is that just me? Oh, okay, I think I made a horrible mistake.
Hey, dude, whatever works for you.
That sounds like a modern day sacrificial altering to the blood god or something.
which sounds really mundane. Over the years, it's really.
So we got tired of human sacrifices. We'll just take all your $100 bills this year.
It's like, it's just like, oh man, did you leave the Snickers out for the god of pestilence? Oh man, I forgot to do that. I should do that before 9, otherwise I'm gonna get like a really bad headache later on.
Okay, that works, I guess.
Sure.
If it does the job, it does the job.
Are we talking about bringing Snickers to the god of pestilence or throwing the boomerang through the stairs?
The boomerang through the stairs.
Well, I mean, it could apply to both.
And the pestilence thing, sure.
Yeah, if I could buy a Snickers bar and sacrifice it to some god to guarantee that I wouldn't have a headache in the morning, I would totally do that. Because I get way too many.
To be fair, I would too.
I get way too many headaches in the morning.
Actually, a box of Snickers was probably cheaper than a bottle of aspirin.
Well,
that's a sad fact of the world we live in right now.
No, you can get a hell of a lot of pain medication if you're willing to go off-brand. Mostly, you're paying for the marketing when you buy
you're paying for the brand
stuff.
I mean, that's the same way with candy too. When you think about it, because actually, I'm thinking of cereal.
I can't afford it.
Right
I can't afford Advil.
Cereal, candy. You do get some better taste and texture out of the really good brands, but for cereal, it's pretty much the same thing.
And honestly, I'd rather have Reese's Cup rather than its off-brand Feces Cup.
Oh no!
I'm thinking I may have gotten hosed.
Yeah, but what about Rice Krispies as opposed to Crisp Riceys?
I mean, it's still generic rice anyway, so.
Or Frosty Flakes instead of Frosted Flakes.
Okay, excuse me. Are you down talking Rice Krispies right now? Those are at least a B tier cereal, all right?
Oh boy, miniature wheats.
No, miniature grains.
Man, I feel old already.
Vegetable rocks?
I'm.
Well, no, the chocolate rocks, I guess.
What exactly are you supposed to do here? Light all 4 torches?
They have different lengths of when they come out, when they get put out.
Oh, so what you're actually supposed to do, you can't see it because it's dark, is there's a painting there. You're supposed to shoot the ropes off, and then it'll drop a thing.
Oh.
I think it'll either reveal a switch or something. I might be thinking of a different room or whatever.
That feels very. That feels really, not super intuitive.
You're supposed to think outside the box. And I mean, you did have to shoot a bunch of those kinds of things before, like that specific kind of rope arrangement. When I turn around and see the. Oh wait, this is also the ones where this is also the dungeon where you can, when you turn into wolf mode, you'll see the soldiers and they'll point towards puzzle solutions and stuff like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, so I'm actually only just remembering this now, but we were talking about a puzzle that we didn't know the solution to in the Arbiter's grounds, but what you were supposed to do was turn into Wolf Link, and then it'll show you which of the 5 torches you're supposed to light up.
Yeah.
But it's honestly...
Oh, I see.
I just happened to guess my first time, so...
Yeah, and you only have 5 choices, so it doesn't really take too long to Armstrong your way through it.
Oh wait, no, never mind. You're supposed to light them in the correct order. Is the thing. Oh hey, you guys are acting like these are threatening at this point in the game.
We just
That's
walked
cool.
into Super Mario Brothers movie.
Can we not? Can we not walk into the Super Mario Brothers movie?
Hey, I don't want to go.
Well, you got one.
Excuse me. You were supposed to die too. All right.
He's so happy that you're here.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
My strategy of jumping around like a moron isn't working. Good thing good old bitch slap still works.
I mean, you could have done it the right way and done the helm splitter thing. But, you had to be fancy and...
It insta-killed them,
You mean, you mean efficient? Sure, yeah, I can be efficient if you want.
You probably could have killed that thing faster if you hadn't done all the running around it took to sheath your sword again. And
This is stupid because the game acts like we couldn't handle this kind of thing on our own.
Oh wait, Is this the point where the?
Oh no, it may be the other. It may be the other side. No, it's
yeah,
the
no,
other
you actually fight this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the other side where.
Oh yeah,
it's like 3 arrow guys and the game acts like you can't handle it on your own. It's like, really?
It tries very hard to make you care.
Well, they went to do something else with the mercenaries, and
but they don't.
The attempt.
They don't do anything though. So why do I care?
The time to make us care about them was earlier in the game, not now. You know, that was supposed to be a payoff for us having cared earlier, not an attempt to make us care.
Well, I mean, they do help you find the other dungeons.
Yeah, but it's such a.
They might as well have just be. It's here, stupid.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like.
Well, you are stupid.
I mean,
if you can't find them yourself.
Okay, you know what, John? First off, that's rude. All right, this is our senpai. All right, obviously he knows better because he's older than us. Because that's how anime works.
I don't watch anime.
That is a lie.
You watch Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball's not an anime.
What is it then?
A waste of time.
Okay.
Ouch.
Okay, yeah, but you see, John, if you watch wastes of time, then you indeed watch anime. So, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Okay. This is law. All right, it's canon.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
It's like you need to get the boss key. It's like, oh no, a few guys.
Come on in.
It's like a few guys. Oh no.
And they have arrows. I'm not gonna be able to.
I can't handle this on my own.
So the arrow wasn't actually snatched out of the air or anything. It just fell right in front of me.
It just gave up on life. It was implied. It was implied that the hawk did it, but it's like, really.
But what did the hawk do?
Yeah, it just cuts to black.
It said to that arrow, "Hey, dude, knock that off." Also, this guy had a bazooka the entire time, and he wasn't going to do anything with it. Like, can I have that bazooka, please?
Hooray, my best friends that I've known this entire time are here.
And I will never see them again after this.
Yeah, they don't literally do anything else.
They didn't really build up to that, did they?
No, they
didn't.
That's what I mean by basically everyone besides Minda in this game is ridiculously undercooked.
It's weird though, because it's such a long game. There would have been time for them to do something about it, but they just kind of didn't. And it's a shame because the designs and concepts are interesting. It's just that there's not.
This is why I don't like it when Nintendo keeps a strictly formula for longer than normal games, because it wears thin after. I mean, personally, after about hour 10 or 12 with nothing interesting going on in terms of character development, I'm struggling.
I feel like Zelda just kind of has the most problem with it because it kind of is trying to feel like a grander adventure than maybe your traditional Mario or something like that. You know, because, like, nobody really expects there to be a story in a Mario game, but this is the kind of thing where
there needs to be at this point.
It's kind of sad because, to a good extent, there's more developed characters in something like Kirby than in most Zelda games, which is pretty sad, all things considered.
And, you know, comparing the two, Zelda certainly does have more, you know, character or just, like, interesting personalities compared to Mario. But even for, like, if you were to compare it to, like, a run-of-the-mill RPG, it still doesn't compare because often in Zelda games I've noticed the only recurring characters in a story arc is either the hero, who doesn't speak, or the villain. Everybody else is pretty much a one-off you meet in one particular area or a dungeon, and then after that the game just forgets about them.
It's unfortunate because, like, it feels like it's kind of a halfway point between being a really, like, thought out and grand adventure, but it just falls short in a bunch of ways.
Yeah, I feel like the problem is that they always want to introduce someone new and flashy, and this is something that goes back to Zelda games as far back as Ocarina of Time, where I feel like the characters are more animated in that one, and that's why we remember Ruto and Darunia and Saria more than, you know, any of the individual
Well, most of them are also around longer than...
Yeah, they stick around for a majority of the story.
That is true, but then again, you also don't see Darunia again after Fire Temple. Rudo disappears after Water
Not saying it's perfect, but they're at least around more than their one appearance, and then just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a full arc of a story all their own, and it's like wrapped up at a decent enough time.
I will say it's definitely done better there than it is here, but that's where the trend does begin. There's this character, they're limited to this area, you do the stuff in that area, and then that character's gone. It would have been maybe better if there was a mercenary pal who helped Link find all of the dungeons, and then you got to see that character develop over the course of the game as a side character, as opposed to there being 4, each with maybe their own individual arcs that are really short. Yeah.
That just makes me think of the King of Red Lions.
Yeah, well, that character was actually done really well.
Yeah.
And I also, we're talking about characters being around longer. Medley and Makar are also given more time because there's less individual areas in that game. So both of them are given a little bit more time to shine. Not that either of them are especially deep characters, but they are more memorable than some of the others. So, I will give it props there. And I don't know, I feel like I don't know much about Skyward Sword, but I also feel like they cut down the number of characters in that game too. Where
people like to point out to Groose, but the thing is, Groose's heel face turn comes out of freaking nowhere.
Well, no, that's kind of the point, because he's taken out of his comfort zone because of your shenanigans.
The problem is, though, he comes down with you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, are you going to do anything with it? No, you're just going to have him stand here while I go do something else, and then he'll be changed by the time I come back.
Well,
okay.
I think he gets properly humbled. I think he needed that.
You don't see that, though. It's just, okay.
True, you don't. Yeah, that's the problem with it. You don't really see most of it. It's just,
You're just told it happens. That's what I mean by it comes out of nowhere. It's like, okay,
it is a direction I'm glad they take with the character, but I would have liked if we saw more of it.
Yeah, I would have liked it if he came with us on that second trip to the first dungeon. Find some gameplay with him where it's like, oh, this is what you've been doing. Wow, this is really hard.
Yeah, I was like, hey, you're actually.
I'm feeling like it would have been very easy to do a little mini game where monsters show up and he's like, save me, Link, and then you save him.
Mission, then you hate Groose again.
Well, no, but that's the thing where it's just like, if he realizes how out of his depth he is, that will show realistically through gameplay why he would learn to respect Link. I mean, granted, it's a pretty stock and not super interesting gameplay way to do it, but it was the first one that came to my head, which is probably why it happens in so many video games, because it's a really easy thing to think of.
I don't know. Like, at that point, if they did that, then people would like just despise Groose more than they actually already do, because then it would have had this annoying mission attached to him, and it would have been like, blah, blah. All right, I'm done with you. Let me go on with my life.
I'll say that. On the other hand, Skyward Sword already has enough of that without Groose. So I don't really think it would have made a difference in how people felt about the game, to be honest.
Because I like Groot. I keep wanting to say Groot.
Groot's pretty great, yeah. It's amazing how well developed they can make a character with a 3-word vocabulary.
But yeah, I like Groose. I do think that he would have been more interesting if he had a little bit more to him. But like for what he was given in like for as little as Zelda games usually give you out of characters, I was pretty happy with him.
I could definitely think of worse. It's just I don't think it was still all the way there, which makes it more frustrating than anything else.
That's like me and Zach.
You see,
I'm not gonna let that go.
I mean, but it shows here and in Skyward Sword, where it's like they kind of want to do it and then they back off at the last second because they're scared of change.
You see, it's weird though, because I'm thinking of Breath of the Wild, and they do the same exact thing in that game, where it's just like, okay, you've got the Zora section, and you do your Zora things, and then Sidon is just standing there for the rest of the game. But everybody loves all those people. Like the only one that people, especially Riju, Sidon,
the thing there is that everyone is technically optional.
I guess that's true, but it's the same structure.
I think technically, from that standpoint, it's like they still take up a chunk of the game because technically it's like a 4th/5th of the game depending on how you play. Because everything is optional, but there's only 4 like core areas that you have to go and visit, and well, you don't even have to go visit them.
Yeah, everything's optional.
But if you do and you want to get all of the divine beasts, there's still only 4 of them. So in the grand scheme of things, they still
those are considered the mandatory in big old sarcastic quotation marks story missions. So, but because you could do them in whatever order you darn well please, the characters within them aren't involved in the other parts of the game.
Well, that's just kind of what I'm getting at, though, is that once you're onto Riju, Sidon's irrelevant,
Yeah, but he's irrelevant because you could technically have done him last as well. The point is, it's different when it's a nonlinear game because in nonlinear games, you generally the choices you make limit the writing in pretty big ways. Like they characters tend to disappear because you can't have a situation where they're important to other parts of the game without it either being linear or a massive headache for the developers.
That does make sense, yeah.
Yeah, it's different in a game like Twilight Princess or Ocarina of Time because the story events that contain these characters happen in a set order. So when they vanish from relevance, that's just the writers not using the stuff that they wrote. So
yeah, that's true. Also, on a side note about Sidon and like some of the other characters in that game, it's like they also take a bit more of an active standpoint, at least like more active than others.
More active in their parts of the story, you mean?
Yes, because Sidon, you freaking like hop on his back and surf on him basically, and like so he feels like he's an active role and he actually does something and he helps.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that most of them are given not only more screen time than any of these guys do, but they also there's also at least some sort of interactive thing with them, like the shooting the stuff down of the, I can never remember the names of the different divine beasts, but you shoot the electric arrows with Sidon, and you have the stealth mission with oh god, I don't remember. The Goron one's my least favorite, so but there's a different mission with each one, so you're doing more with them, which makes them feel more fleshed out. I believe actually that was the kind of stuff we said that we would want to see with these guys in order to like them more when we were talking about them earlier in the game. So
yeah. And while they technically accompany you in some regard, they are not directly involved in what you do.
Yeah, you just see them run up and shoot a bazooka, and then they're off.
Like, but they have a freaking bazooka. Why aren't you helping me with that earlier, guys? I mean,
maybe they just made it.
Well, the obvious in-context reason for why they're suddenly helping you now is that the final dungeon happens to be next door to the bar they've been hanging out in the whole game. So there's
and now that shield's gone. And now the shield's gone.
Should we do something? We should do something.
Wait, hold on. That thing is gone. So, who was the guy that was trying to help us? Lunch, I think.
No, Lunch is that chick from Dragon Ball who just sort of disappears. Yeah. So
they were calling him some sort of weird name. Kawaii, that's it. Kawaii. We gotta go help Kawaii save Hyrule.
I keep forgetting that they named her Launch in the dub, but I think it's like Lunch in Japan. I don't know.
Yeah,
because Toriyama names everyone off after
food. He names
food.
everything off of food. I don't know. Somebody give that guy a sandwich or something because he must be starving.